Okay, welcome back for the rest of this afternoon. So we have finished with all the complex scientific learnings from previously. So now the rest of the afternoon will be about literature review, managing your bibliography, and writing scientific articles with the workshop of Jerôme. So I won't take too long. I have a dozen of slides to talk about different topics very quickly. How to get started with a new topic, access scientific publication, conduct a literature review. Then Bassirou will present you a tool called Zotero to manage your bibliography. And I will just say a few words about how to set up scientific monitoring to get updated with new publications. And very few words on open science, because Jerome will talk about it as well. And I hope you will find it useful. It's the first time I do that, so don't hesitate. If you have additional information, sometimes we can discuss about it. I hope, again, that you will find it useful. Okay, so just in the, let's say, a timely manner, when you start a new project, whether it's a PhD or a postdoc, the first thing you want to do is to look in more general way what is the new academic field. Try to understand this new academic field, and try to delimit your research area. Okay, so there is a big topic, and you want to find, okay, what will be the problematic I will focus on, and what's the field I need to study. Well, you, I guess, all use online search engines where you can find various type of content. And I want to focus on two different, let's say, tools to get general knowledge about new topics, which are Wikipedia, well-known encyclopedia, which worked on collaborative work by everybody. And also the rise of generative AI chatbot that can also be useful in that case. So from my point of view, what I found is that Wikipedia might generally be well referenced in the topics it talked about, reliable because corrected by a lot of people, and comprehensive thanks to external and internal references as well. As I said, it's a worldwide collaboration, like science, which is great. And it's also free and open to everyone, which should be like science, but not always. And on the negative point, I'd say sometimes it's possibly less comprehensive on more niche topics. And there might be sometimes inequality between the quality of the writing, especially introductions. Sometimes I have to say that chatbots make it more clear sometimes. On the other side, we have the chatbots, which are, as I mentioned, fairly clear and concise. I have to give them that. And in particular, what I find interesting is that they have the ability to rephrase and answer your personal questions. If there is something you don't really get, don't really understand with what I will call a frozen content, something that is fixed, like in a text, in Wikipedia or a book, when sometimes, even if you look at different books, different sources, some things might not click. So the ability of a chatbot, and what is very interesting, I think, is that it can rephrase it to make it more clear for you. Mainly as you would do with your supervisor or a teacher when you ask for something and he explains it to you in a more specific way that works for you. So that's very helpful. The problem with that is since it's flexible and it works not on what's the most accurate, but what's the most probable, you always have to be careful and to cross-check with different sources, for example, frozen sources, to be sure that it doesn't tell you something wrong, basically. But overall, I found that there could be a very effective use of both as a pair. So mainly, I think you might mainly do that already. But to use Wikipedia books and classic reliable content and generative AI to help you clarify some points. Okay, but I don't think that one can replace the other. That's my main point as well. Okay, so just a few examples of, because also for a few years now that there is some chatbots that have specialized in academic research. Some like ChatGPT with deep research, or other ones that have been created just for academic research. I've quoted a few here. I've seen like that this morning, someone, I don't know who, put a newspaper on the coffee room about AI in teaching and stuff. And you at the end, you have a list of different AI related tools for very different topics, if you want to take a look at it, if you're interested. On my part, I've only tested two here. So ChatGPT to make some, to ask some literature review about inverse problems and stuff like this. And Borium, which is a solution by a Chinese company, DP Technology, just because it was the only one that didn't require the creation of an account. They didn't want to create several accounts. Okay, and I already have one ChatGPT. So just for a few points on that, ChatGPT overall, as I say, concise and quite clear, but it has a tendency to work with bullet points rather than Borium, which works more with well-written paragraph, as you could find in a book or Wikipedia. So I guess it depends on what you like. For both, now they have, when they show you a text, you have keywords highlighted, and you can click on the keywords to have more details on the keywords. That's very helpful. They all have that almost now. But ChatGPT, since it is not made specifically for academic research, even if you ask it, I didn't, at least in my tries, it wasn't giving references when I asked, even for literature review. Whereas Borium, which is made for that, automatically gave references along the text, as in scientific articles. It's more in that sense. Both were quite equal in their finding. But also something that is interesting is that this kind of chatbot, they seem to, I mean, all chatbots, in fact, it seems that they tend to favor recent references compared to compared to Wikipedia, or when you ask your supervisor, where you will mostly have references from classic and well-established books that we know they are reliable. Here, the accent is put on recent references, like 2020s references. Okay, so that could help, but also be a problem if you are looking for reliable resources from the last century, for example. But again, I've just made a few tries, so if you ask more specifically to the chatbot, it might help you as well on that. Okay, and both also were giving additional openings and further references, so it was interesting as well. So again, it does not replace Wikipedia or other books and that kind of content, in my opinion. I don't know if I was convinced by Borium compared to most used and reliable chatbot like ChatGPT and others. But I guess you could try it if you want to. There is several others, again, that I linked on the slides, and I will share the slides with you if you want. Just a last point on this specialization. ChatGPT has its own specialization, which is called deep research. But remember always, as I said, that it searches for the most probable in the latent space and not the most accurate. So for example, I made a search for inverse problems. And when I look at who Andrei Tikhonov was, apparently it's a famous Russian football player. I don't think it's the right person for the regularization. So always cross-check the answer when you... here it's obvious, of course, that this is not the Tikhonov that we are looking for. But for less obvious answers, always cross-check with frozen content. I think it's part of our job. Okay, so that was it for the search, basically. Now, if you have found some references that you would like to get in order to develop your PhD or your project, you need to access the scientific contents, and that's a totally other part. As I said, we would like science to be free and open for everyone, but it is not the case. There is different type of contents, more specialized content then. So mainly books, scientific articles, conference proceedings, and master and PhD thesis as well. But keep in mind that master and PhD thesis, even PhD, they are less peer-reviewed. There can be some errors, so always be careful when you read them. And there is two different types of access for this content, physical and electronic. So I want to emphasize on the physical access because here at Ladois, we have a campus which is very rich in terms of libraries. So, well, the first things you could do is ask your supervisor and co-workers if they have books in their office and that kind of stuff. It's usually, if you are in a PhD, your supervisor can provide you with some books that will be helpful at the beginning. Otherwise, you have, let's say, 3 different layers, not neural networks layers, of size in the campus. There is a library at the LVA downstairs. I make a link here to the intranet. I'm not sure it's updated, but there is a link on the intranet to look for what books are available in the library, hopefully. You have the INSA library, which is really close by, 1 minute by foot. And an even bigger one, which is the science library from the University Lyon 1, in the middle of the campus at the train station Gaston Berger. Okay, so don't hesitate to go there. There is always a lot of interesting activities, let's say, at both INSA and Science libraries. And finally, if you are really looking for a physical book, because there is no scan online, because it's a very old book, and the library here at Ladois doesn't have it, do not have it, you can ask for interlibrary loan. You can look at the SUDOC catalog to see where it could be located, sometimes even in the USA or in Europe. And then you have to ask for, I never done it here, but you have to ask for the library for that kind of loan. Okay, I don't know if Jerome, you know how it works here.
It's very simple. You have to fill in
a form.
Form.
Okay, so with the INSA library.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it.
You can do it online.
Yeah. Okay. So on the website of the INSA library, pretty easy. And otherwise, nowadays we most of the time have access to electronic version of the publications. So different databases and indexing services such as HAL. I will talk again later about it, and Jerome too. Google Scholar, OpenAlex, databases, Scopus and Web of Science, and ThèseFR, which are the main ones. Thèse if you are looking for a French PhD thesis. But French institutions and overall in Europe, we are willing to break free from these private databases in favor of open science, basically. So I won't talk too much about Scopus and Web of Science because CNRS has ended their subscription to them. But I will show you 2 tools that you might already know, which is the first one is Google Scholar. Of course, you know it. And the other one is OpenAlex, which is a free and open database in the sense that is more great for science, I guess. So just to show you a little trick, probably. If I manage to open this. Okay, so that's where it begins to be hard. In Google Scholar, when you search, well, for example, Leclerc, hop. If you can look for, well, you know how it works. You can look for keywords. You can look for institution, for author's name, etc., etc. When you look at Google Scholar search, on the right side, you have already the indication. Oops, my test didn't work, but never mind. You already have the indication of whether or not you have access to the PDF, okay, of the publication, which is really useful. But if it's open access, but sometimes there is no open access to it, but you can have access anyway if you are with INSA, okay? And you have something to set up in Google Scholar to see directly here if you have or not access with INSA, which is faster than to go on the website, log in, see whether or not you have access. Okay? So if you want this to be quick and see that, just have to go to this tab on Google Scholar, go to parameters, okay? And under the settings, you go for link to libraries, okay? Lien vers les bibliothèques. And in this tab, in fact, you can put, okay, so it's always bugged here. Okay. So here you can find, you see sudoc catalog again, because there is an agreement between them and Google Scholar, because it's been a long year and they saw that a lot of people use Google to search for academic content. So you already have that. And at the beginning, you might not have this INSA Lyon, but you just have, if you want to set it up, you just have to type like INSA Lyon, press enter, and INSA Lyon will appear. You check the box, you save the settings, and then voila, you will have directly, you will be able to directly see whether or not you have access, and then you can click on the access, log in classically, and you will be redirected toward different links. They all work. If it works here. Okay. And then you have different links. You click on whichever you want, and you get access to the website, the journal website, and you are directly logged in, so you can click on View PDF. Okay. So very interesting to directly see if you have access or not to the paper. Okay, so that was it for Scholar. I'm sure you know how it works otherwise. And also I wanted to emphasize on OpenAlex, the open database, because I think it's good to try to move away from all these private tools and try to use open science as much as possible. And basically OpenAlex, if you don't know it, it's just openalex.org. It works pretty much as Google Scholar. You can search by keywords for works, by authors, by institutions, a lot of different things. And if I do the same search, for example, by authors, Antoni Leclerc, hop, I can find different homonyms. We'll talk later about homonym. Hop. And you have all his statistics, let's say, his metadata. And you can click on View Works, and you have all his publication as you would have on Google Scholar. And you can filter quite easily by the type of publication, the institution with which he published, see some statistics. And well, basically it works like Google Scholar, but it's free and open software, which does not benefit to any private company, basically. Okay. I guess that is all what I wanted to show you on this part. I'm just checking. Yeah, let's say that's it. Let's move on. So now that we see that we saw how to have access to the publications, the next question is how to conduct our literature review to see every papers that are related to our topics and be sure that we don't miss anything to build our work upon. So in this case, you have well different practices. Let's say in the old times, the only option that we had was to go backward in time by looking at the list of references at the end of article, book, and websites. A list of references that probably your supervisor gave you at the beginning of your PhD. So you should always have to do that because it's the references that the authors have chosen. So they are really interesting and related to the work. But it only goes backward in time. So it's only previous publications. Another interesting tool is to go forward in time to see if there has been new works based on the publication you're reading. So that can be done with Google Scholar, the tool cited by. Pretty sure you also know it, in fact, but let's see it anyway. For example, if I go back to, I don't know, any paper of Quentin, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Any paper of Quentin, you see here a little tool, cité, or in English, cited by, which is very useful. You click on it, and you have every papers that have cited the work of this paper. So you might, for example, find the updated version of the work, or sometimes, for example, this one is really interesting. Here you see that the first new paper you see is a review paper. And a review paper is very interesting for you when you conduct a literature review because, well, part of the job is already done because a review article is not communicating new production, new methods. It's a gathering of all the scientific publication upon a given topic, and it tries to make sense of what is known actually now. So it's basically a literature review at the time of the writing. So very useful when you are trying to do your own literature review. Okay. So cited by tool in Google Scholar, very useful. I didn't find any alternative on OpenLX for that, unfortunately. Maybe it exists. Then, more recently, there have been powerful tools that have been developed that go, I'd say, multidimensional because it goes backward, forward in time, and it gives you, in fact, a graphical view of some kind of a galaxy that is around your reference. And for that kind of tools, there are two main tools: connected papers and lit maps that have a usage limit, daily or monthly, but you can more or less bypass it by using a private Firefox tab. That's a useful tip I give you freely. Sorry. And if I manage to go back to my presentation, if we go to connected paper, just to show you an example, that's how it looks. I think I have to open a private tab because I might have already used it too much. And if we look, I have no idea. I will type just Quentin Leclerc. You can also search for keywords, author's name, DOI number, whatever. Maybe it's too much to ask for Quentin. Oh no, okay. So you see you have different papers and you select one. And it builds a graph where you will see different nodes and different lines. So this is the paper we asked for, okay? You have, so as I said, different nodes. So each node is a paper, okay? The bigger the node, the most citation it has, okay? So big points are very important papers that you should look at, but small nodes can be papers that have been, forgot. So might be interesting to look at them as well. If you have a segment between two nodes, it means I think that there is a direct citation between the two. If there is two nodes, it means that this one cite this one, which cite this one. So you can go further than a distance of one. Okay. When you look at the list of references of a paper, or when you use the cited by tool in Google Scholar, you only have a distance of 1. Here you can have a distance of 2, sometimes 3, but not much more with a free access. So it's very interesting. And finally, two more things. The color indicates the time at which it was published. So the darker, the more recent. So it's quite visual. And also you see some galaxies, some different locations where different nodes are accumulating. It's the distance between two nodes is related to the semantic proximity inside the papers. I don't know how it's calculated. It's private from connected papers, but you have an indication of the proximity. So sometimes you can find different like spots like this, which have a very specific topic in common. Okay, so very useful to be not 100% sure, but quite sure that you didn't miss any references related to your topic. So you can do that with different references, and you can also add the list of references at the end of the papers. With all of these tools, now you are pretty much able to construct a pretty comprehensive literature review quite easily. Okay, so connected papers and lit map as well, but I prefer connected papers personally. Okay. And finally, I've just tried also with chatbots to ask them to build a literature review. ChatGPT was not that bad at it, but it is definitely less handy than the graphs that I show you on connected papers. But something interesting with ChatGPT, as I mentioned earlier, is that it gives more recent references, whereas connected papers, it gives references that are close to the reference you give. So if you give a reference from the 2000, you pretty much won't have references from 1 year ago. Okay. And also, ChatGPT, it can easily gives you links to review articles, so you can ask for that directly. Okay. So there's different pros and cons. I encourage you to try it all. Okay. So now that at this point, you have a lot of articles, a lot of references that you've concatenated in your academic topic, and you are starting to want to manage it and to have a list and to be able to not forget them. And for that, Bassirou will present you a specific tool for that matter. So I leave it to him. Thank you.
So hello everyone. Don't know why it's like that, but maybe yeah, it's something.
I think it's in this.
So while we're waiting, I wanted to ask you about like who knows about Zotero here? Yeah, so a good amount. So I don't have to convince many people. And who is using it every day? Or yes, but okay, so it's good. So I will have to just convince more people. And it's fine.
I think it's the cable, or the connection. It's the cable. Unplug and plug it in. Just see. But I use this.
Yeah, you use it. And
Okay. It's not a problem with that.
So maybe I will do it, do the presentation like. Hmm?
Can you pass the slide to see if you
Yeah.
Moi, j'ai aussi un compte.
Try this because when I use this it works.
Yeah, try it, but before.
The same.
Try it another, let me check if it's
Same with my computer.
Yeah, maybe it's my computer. I said, oh. Maybe it's the computer.
Bah,
So,
tu peux m'envoyer, je te l'envoie.
par mail.
C'est PC Airbus, ça.
Non, ça c'est pas Max. Disons 0.
C'est pas de HAL, du coup. Il y en a un peu. Je te laisse faire.
En faisant le match, je vais envoyer là. So, let's start. So for those who don't know what is Zotero, Zotero is just like a virtual library. So it's just a virtual library with very quite interesting features. So like you can see here, it's the interface of Zotero. You can have your papers, and you can have many collections, and yeah, organize your papers between collections and have and tag the papers or the document that you have, so that you can just organize well your work through your literature review. And so to describe it, like I said, it's very easy to use to add papers or article or documents or item just to Zotero. It's easy. You can just drag and drop into the interface. For example, when you download a paper on your computer, you can just take it and then put it in the interface here or here in one of the collection, and it will be uploaded. If there is metadata on the document, they are also going to be uploaded, and you have all your references in the interface. Also, you can use a Zotero connector. That is a connector that is in many. I think it's in every navigator that you have. So in the site, where you can find the paper that you want, it will show you a little icon where you can click, and it will just upload the document with the metadata if there are metadata. And so, like I said, it permits you also to organize your work. For example, here you can see that I split my library into several collections, so that I won't be lost if I want to find just one paper in the many references that I have. And also, quite interesting thing is that it allows to build like citation and bibliography. And you can find like here. So here it's just the window that pop up when you want to cite or create a bibliography, and then it shows the different style that you can use that you want, and it will just give you the reference. And for example, for me, there is an extension in Word with Zotero. So directly when you cite one paper, it will also build in the background a bibliography that will be updated until you finish your paper, and then you click on add the bibliography and it will you just get you out the bibliography. Or for example, for me, what I do is just I copy and paste the information, the reference, and I put it into ChatGPT, and then he give me a bib tech for the LaTeX version of your paper. I think also there is a plugin for LaTeX interface. I don't know about it, but I think it's already useful. So with Zotero. Yeah, I think there is a plugin, but I don't.
I think for the forward Chrome, you have the full version, you can link
To Zotero. Okay.
After that,
You need to pay. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. And yes, next part. With Zotero also you can collaborate with other people. You can share the same library with other people that you share the same project. For example, when you was here in INSA, in our co-pair project, we will use the same library with the other member to have all the data, and then to be sure that we read the same references. You can also synchronize your data across multiple devices. It's really useful when you have multiple devices or 3 or 2 piece laptop. You just need to log into your account, and then it will find all the references on your library. Just you have like a limited access, limited amount of storage online. If you want more, you have to pay. But yeah, you will still have the metadata, so you can find all the references that you have on your library in any on your devices. Just you won't have necessarily the attachment file, so the PDF file or something. Yes.
You can just command one simple thing.
Yeah.
That you want to export all your bibliography to another computer, but you cannot contract because you don't want to pay.
Yeah.
It's possible besides Euro, it's possible to download your bibliography with all the PDF thing, documentation. It's somehow like a zip file that when you install it on another machine, like in a USB, for example, put it in another machine, you can read it, and you have all your annotation, all the PDFs and stuff.
Okay.
So
after maybe you can explain me after.
I don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Like for the Zotero, we are only 2 gig.
Yeah.
And the Zotero allows you to link with your own cloud storage.
Okay.
You can do some free one. I think I use one from you, but it's free for 50 gigabytes.
Yeah, like Drive or something. Okay.
It's feels like the original.
Okay, so
And it, 50 I already used 3 or 4 years, and it didn't feel the.
Okay, so after you can show us maybe. Yeah. After you can show us. So it's good, yeah. When you can, like I said, tag your documents, so you can build filters, so you know which kind of article or paper you want to just see on your bibliography, so it's easy. For example, if you want to just see the articles that are interesting or that you already read, and you don't want to read it again or just want to look at it again, you just put tag, and then it's clear. Also, you can add plugins, like I said, especially the translator. You can use a translator plugin that can use different API. This one it's a Google one that I use, and it's very efficient, and it translates quite well even the scientific article. For example, I had an example, but I think I remove it. For example, the word eigenvectors, it will translate. So, and like I said, you have free storage online until 300 megabytes. After that, you have to pay, or just have it locally, or maybe the solution of Genshin. And yeah, maybe the most interesting part for me is the Zotero PDF reader. Who is using it? Who is using the PDF reader? Yeah, it's a very nice tool for me because when you read an article, for example, and you have reference, you have a citation, every time you have to click, it will maybe get you on the page, but maybe you will have to go back to the page you were, or you don't know. For example, when you do that, when you click on a reference like here, you will have a window, a preview that will pop up. You can, with it, directly see what you want to see, or if you want, you can just go click on the reference. It will take you to the page, and after you can just click on this return back button, and it will get you back to your page. So it's very efficient and quite easy to use. So you can put some annotation like highlights, and it will appear here. And then you can, like I said, translate here with the plugins. And I think that's pretty it. Yeah, there is nothing more for the presentation, and it's the end. In fact, it was very short. So if you have something that you know that you want to share to the other, like I said, you can do it. And if you don't use Zotero, maybe it's the right time to try it.
Other thing that
Yeah.
you can say, if you go back to the description of Zotero,
Yeah.
Like this one.
Yeah.
If you upload your PDF and you don't have the metadata,
Yeah.
simply can go to, there's like a magic one there.
Here, this thing?
Yeah, this thing. You can upload literally, you can write or copy and paste like the DOI or the reference, like for example, a book.
Like the cross-ref.
Or the ISBN,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have like the reference paper or book or something like what, you can just go to like user form. You literally copy and paste, click OK, and you will generate and get automatically the metadata if you don't have the metadata inside the PDF.
Okay.
So it's a good way of.
I thought I will teach you about Zotero, but it's the opposite. Thank you. And if you have some question, I don't know. Yes?
From the LaTeX BIB file,
yeah.
I use an extension in Zotero. It's called Better BIB Text.
Better BIB Text.
Yeah. Better BIB Text. And you can just
do
it. BIB file.
Okay.
Directly.
And it's you can just find it by searching on Google and.
It's just called Better BIB Text.
Okay.
And I think in Zotero there is an extension. Like a
panel or something.
Tab.
Yeah.
You can click and search directly in Zotero.
Okay.
Better BIB Text.
Better BIB Text. Okay, thank you.
And there is a site, a website linked to Connect Papers and Séminaire. It's called Research Rabbits, and we can link to Zotero website.
It's from the newspaper. So it's on the research newspaper on the coffee room. Okay, research. But there's the mention. Okay. But we just write the paper detector. So maybe we want for
and research rabbit. Yeah, it's okay, it's fine. Well, thank you.
Okay, so just to finish very quickly with this part before going to the workshop by Jerome. We've seen from now how to get references, how to build your literature review, and how to manage it, and how to cite in paper as well. But now the last part you want to do is to update it, to keep track of new publications that appear. And for that, it's a good way is to set up alerts. So there is different way of doing it. But oops, sorry. Wait a minute. Sorry, just a minute. Okay. Okay. So just to show you very quickly, if you want to set automatic alerts on Google Scholar, you have different way of doing it. One thing that I like, if you want to follow, you can follow an author. For example, Quentin Leclerc, I don't know. Quentin. You can follow him if he has an account, but it's only if he has an account. So you will be alerted by email each time he publishes a new article. And you can also go to alerts and create new alert based on a given some keywords, like you would do a research, for example. So that would give you a lot of papers, but you make a research by keywords and you can create an alert and you will be also alerted by emails. The same goes for OpenAlex. You can set up on the top here, create alerts, and you can have automatic alert by email when someone, an institution, some keywords, topic related are published. It's very useful. You can follow, for example, publication from your institutions, from INSA. I didn't find the LVA on OpenAlex, but there you can follow your institution, some authors you like or keywords. That's very useful to be alerted each time there is a new paper and not miss one. Okay. And also, the last point I wanted to mention is that nowadays it's also kind of useful to be on LinkedIn, because I see more and more people publishing announcements on LinkedIn now when they publish a new article. That wasn't the case 2-3 years ago, but now a lot of people do it. And also you have, if you don't know it already, you have a specialized social networks for researchers, which is called ResearchGate. Who has already a ResearchGate account here? Okay, so very few people. Okay. No. I greatly encourage you to create a ResearchGate account. It also contributes to your online identity and visibility as a researcher. People can follow you, see you. You can also use it to put any contribution you want, not only articles, but pieces of code, projects, stuff. And people can basically just look at your news as in a social network, but especially for researcher. And there is no ads and stuff. Okay. I think I will finish with that and let Jerôme now talk you about publication and how to write scientific articles overall. Thank you. On va se faire un peu noir là.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to continue on the topic of open science, and I'm going to use some slides that were prepared by Solène Monteil, who is in charge at INSA of these matters. And I will talk about HAL, which is the database that is recommended and actually mandatory for us at INSA, but it's the case for all universities in France. So I will go only to the most important slides. First of all, open access. So you know that's very important. And the thing is that most of the research is actually founded on public money. And so there shouldn't be commercial use of these results as long as they have been founded through public ways. Therefore, the open access. And there are several ways to achieve this. And so I'm going to talk of the so-called green way, which is to publish your data in open platforms. There is also the golden way, which is to publish your data in open access journals. This has a cost, golden way, and many of these journals in open access ask for very expensive rights in order to open your paper. Except in some situations, which I will describe later, c'est l'accord Couperin. Which allows us to publish golden access for free. Free in the sense that we, as researchers or as or the lab, does not have to pay for it. So I'll start with the golden way, and with HAL. So HAL is a French project. Which was strongly supported by CNRS, and it's now mandatory for us to reference all our publications in this database. It's free, and all our research results should be referenced, must be referenced in this database, which means that whenever you publish a conference paper or a journal paper, you have to reference it in this database. So INSA requires 100% of our publications to be referenced. Okay, and I really insist that it's mandatory. If we don't do it, it's a failure. So it's very easy, and you can. It's just like in Zotero or other similar systems. Basically, once your paper have been published, you just have to enter the DOI of the publication, and all the metadata are referenced. So it's very easy.
Jerome,
Oui.
do we have to do it with pattern?
Yes, all products of research, so conference papers, patents, PhD manuscripts. PhD manuscripts have to be referenced, and you can also reference all types of documents. So it can also be preprints, so it means the manuscript before it is published, and everything actually. Yeah. But for the conference and journal papers and PhD manuscript, it is compulsory. Probably for patents as well. Okay. I'm going to go very quickly on this. So yes, I just explained that it's very well connected to other databases like Google Scholar and yeah, probably Scopus and so on. No, not Scopus. Scopus is Elsevier. So what can you now upload in AL in terms of file? The objective for INSA is also to upload 100% of your papers. But there are conditions to do this. There are copyrights for published papers. And so the rule is this one. As soon as scientific production has been financed at least by half from public money, so you should upload the file. So not only the reference, but also the file. Skip this one. So you should keep in mind that you have the rights on your production, but the journal that publishes your paper has the rights on the final paper. Paper means it is the scientific content plus the what we call the printing, so the layout and the production work. Yeah, but the content is your property, and so you can do whatever you want with the content. So you are allowed to upload the preprints of your paper. So that's your right. For the final version of the paper, which is in the layout of the publisher, so that's different. So then you have to look at the particular cases. In some cases, you are allowed to publish it immediately. In most cases, you're not allowed, but there is an embargo. And that's the rules now. The embargo is 6 months. So after 6 months, you're allowed to upload your paper in the layout of the journal which has published it. So this is the embargo, the 6 months embargo. And here is the 100% statistics which is expected from INSA. And there is a last case, which is l'accord Couperin. And this is a French invention. So for many journals, you can now publish the paper in golden access. Thanks to this convention. So it's negotiation between French governments and editors, publishers like Elsevier, but not only. There are many other publishers, academic press and so on, who have signed this accord Couperin. And so you don't have to pay for anything, and your paper will be in gold access. So to do this, it's a bit tricky. For example, in Elsevier, when your paper has been accepted, at the end, at the very last step, sometimes it is even before your paper is accepted, sometimes even before you have to select if you want your paper to be open access or not. If you tick the golden access box, then you will have an amount to pay. 3,000 euros. It's typical. Keep in mind that with the accord Couperin, it will be free at the end. But it's very tricky because they don't tell you. What they show is the price, and it's only at the end that you realize that it will be free for you thanks to this convention. Okay, so use it because there has been a negotiation, hard negotiation, and so you use it. Check if the paper, the journal in which you publish, is within this convention. It only works for in France, unfortunately. And, which means that if your paper is co-signed by several authors, it is the I guess the corresponding author, the author that submit the paper, the nationality of the author that who submits the paper, that will be taken into account. Okay. No, last thing. Maybe Leo, you would like to take over on this. It is le idéal. So ideal is your identifier. So you have to, that comes with an account in HAL. And you're all supposed to create an ideal. Again, INSA requires everyone, 100% of the staff, to have un ideal. Idéal en français. This includes everyone, so permanent researchers, PhD students, even engineers and technicians. So even Julien is ideal. And so to do this, you can do it right now.
Who has not ideal PowerPoint already? Raise the hand.
So you're the only one.
If you don't have it, take a computer and create your own. It takes 5 minutes.
Ok, voilà, tu fais ça.
And don't lie.
Okay, so I think that's it.
You just have to enter your name, email, and password.
Do you have any questions on this?
You can also, if you want to create an archive account, you can maybe you can talk about Farsi. Maybe you can say a few words about Farsi.
Ah oui, oui. Orcide, c'est ça? Oui.
Because you can also just create an Orcide account and register on HAL with the Orcide account.
Yes. So this is not mandatory, but it's highly recommended. So ORCID number is actually an identifier for each researcher. And this is widely used as an identifier in AL. When you submit a paper, it's the same. You can directly use your ORCID number. How did you say in English? ORCID? Voilà. And so it's a unique identifier for a researcher, and it makes life easier.
Yeah, you should have one too, especially if you have permanent film.
Yeah. You know, believe me, in some cases, instead of filling in a long form with your first name, family name, and so on and so on and so on, you just have this number to give. It's very comparable to the DOI of a paper that contains the full metadata. Yeah. Okay.
And you can log in on a lot of different services. Pretty useful.
Yeah. Okay. Now, something else that is very important is how to sign your publications. So this rules is specific to INSA. So all publications, first of all, all publications that results from your research work at INSA must be signed with the INSA signature. That makes sense. And the signature is this one, when it comes from LVA. So INSA Lyon, LVA, UR for unité de recherche. This is its number, and then the address. This is the only signature. Don't change it. Don't change a comma. Don't forget a comma. Okay, so if you don't know it, then you will invent the signature by yourself for sure. So it must be this one. And again, INSA is looking after us, just like for the statistics for AL.
Il n'y a pas de tiret entre Lyon.
Ah non. Il n'y a pas le tiret, et puis souvent on oublie une des virgules. The reason for this is very simple. It is again to measure the production of INSA by searching for papers, patents, and so on in databases. And to do this efficiently, you need only one signature. And this was set up maybe 10 years ago. And the place of INSA in the Shanghai ranking has just exploded thanks to this. Because the number of publication, the mass of publication, has been multiplied by 10. Yeah. This production existed, but could not be tracked. So it is very important to follow this signature. And I think I said everything. What else? I just wanted to show something. Coming back to Leo's and Basiru's presentation, it's possible to use a plugin here that connects with the library. So I've not been able to set it up properly, but normally you should be able to select your library here. It used to work before, but for some reason it doesn't find INSA Lyon. And then by using this plugin, whenever you, okay, let's go to Quentin again. Let's look at this paper. Okay. And then you have your plugin here. And you don't care about, you know, logging to your library and so on. You just get article, and it will find it for you. Okay, here I was not able to select INSA Lyon for some reason. So it uses another way to find the paper. And look, this is Al. Okay. It's just one click.
The name of the page?
It's a lean library. I have to double check why I couldn't find INSA Lyon. Yeah. Okay, what else? Concerning, the tools for research. So we already mentioned Zotero. There is also Mendeley, which is owned by a private company. So maybe not to be so much recommended as compared to Zotero, which is a project initiated by a non-profit organization. There is also JabRef, which has less possibilities than Zotero, but which is very good because it's very simple. And if you're only concerned with producing a reference list for a paper, that's the probably the easiest tool. So it's just like Zotero. You can produce references by uploading the DOI of the paper. And then it collects all the metadata, and it shapes it into a LaTeX reference list. And that's, I think, probably the easiest tool to do this. Yeah, well suited to LaTeX, because then with LaTeX, you know, you just have to give the name of your template, and it will shape it. It will shape the reference list according to this template. So each journal has a template, and you basically you don't have to do anything. Coming to LaTeX, I strongly recommend you to use it as an editor for papers. It's a bit of an investment at the beginning if you don't know the language, but it's a very good investment. And there are several tools. Some of them are provided by INSA, like MyTech or TechMaker. I recommend Overleaf, which is easier to use, and it is online. So you don't have to worry about downloading packages and so on. Everything is fully automatic. And it has a lot of very useful options. It's even possible, if you write your paper in with Overleaf, to directly submit it to a journal. Some journal have a direct transfer with Overleaf.
I have a question about Overleaf. But last time I used Overleaf to write a paper, and I think in 2 days or 3 days, I want to come back to the first version. It seems I have to pay, or it's impossible.
Yeah, I think the overlay, if you need to, I don't know, you said that it's a professional version by the LVA, but I don't know if it's the paid version or.
There are two licenses at LVA. If I have one, I don't remember who has the second one, but then you can ask me to invite you as a collaborator, and then you will be able to use the professional version. So we have 3 licenses, so you can ask to any of us, and we will invite you, and you will benefit from all the professional options.
We should work on the same folder, or just the invitation on what?
It's a collaborative work. So there is the owner of the project. So, for example, you will be the owner, and then you invite collaborators. So you send an email, and the collaborator accepts, and is then able to use the professional version, which is very good, because you.
Yeah, but both of this, I'm still using my local methods.
Yeah.
I want to see like there is another website very like overly. It's called Prism. It's developed. I think now it's bought by OpenAI.
Okay.
Basically all the pro function in the overly is free to use on.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's free to collaboration, like a more than one collaboration, and you can install to the last version, and can give to the current collaboration. I'm trying to use it, and I don't think it's possible. Maybe it's
But is it still a private use? Yeah, but I mean, if it's OpenAI, so is your document still secured? Or
By that, there is also an open source fork of Overleaf on the PLM services that are done by the CNRS, it's a French institution. So you have PLM, a lot of different services. You have PLM LaTeX, for example. Which is basically the same as Overleaf without the paid features. So you won't be able to connect with Git or Dropbox and stuff like this. So it won't solve your problem, Sunga. But in general, I would recommend to use PLM LaTeX instead of Overleaf if you don't need the paid features. And also, if you have a problem with following your modifications, as long as you don't need to work with someone else, as long as you're writing it for yourself and you're the only author, I mean, I would recommend to use your local version with GitHub or with a Git. Then you have all the things that you want. I don't really see the point to use online version if you are the only author. But then for collaborative work, it's really useful.
And personally, I use, and a lot of people now use VS Studio, VS Code for LaTeX coding, and it works perfectly. It's I think it's more simple to use than Technicaker. And
Yeah, it's
maybe easier to set up.
because you can code Python, you can code in LaTeX, and it's you have just to install an extension and it's work perfectly.
the same environment.
Yeah, and you can link your its accounts and track your the version if you have. It's local and it's work perfectly for me. But you still to have install MikTeX, but
Yeah, it replaces TechMaker, the text editor.
yeah.
So MikTeX is always necessary to have the core, but then you can use every text editor that you want, Visual Studio Code or TechMaker.
Okay. If there is no other question on this topic, then I will switch to something completely different, which is how to write and publish a scientific paper. So the slides are in French, but I will try to translate in English. Well, first of all, we should start with the very first question. Why should we publish? Okay, you need a paper for your PhD. Normally, this is the requirement to be allowed to defend. Okay, but you shouldn't forget the essential need for publication beyond your PhD. So in a PhD, so you contribute to increase the scientific knowledge, and so this knowledge has to be conveyed to the scientific community. And the classical way to do this is to publish papers. It's by saying this, I'm now realizing that it's surprising that we're still doing this, because it is the first way that was invented by researchers to convey their research results. We're talking of the very first research results, 17th century. By that time, basically, there was no other way than writing papers, and we're still using this way. Yeah? So, well, okay, that's the system is like this, and apparently it's not going to change. And those papers have to be read, of course, to be useful. They have to be also validated by other researchers, which is still exactly the same way that was proposed by the very first researchers many centuries ago. It hasn't changed. And second objective after being read is being cited. So this means that your research was useful for someone. If the paper is not cited, it's a strong sign that the research has not been useful yet. Maybe it will be useful in 50 years or in 100 years. this sometimes happens. Okay, so keep this in mind, and especially when writing a paper, keep these objectives in mind, in particular the first one. A few statistics about the acceptation rates in journals. So it's usually less than 50%, and in very selective journals, it's even lower than this. It can be much below. If I think of very selective journals, it can be below a few percent. So this brings me to this question. Is the effort invested in writing a paper justified if the acceptation rate is so slow? At least if you target what we call a high-ranked journal. So you know that the journals are ranked. There is the rank A, which is the best one. We also use quartiles. Q1 is the top 25% journals, and the recommendation at LVA is to target Q1 journal. And this is something that is checked if you, especially for those of you who would like to continue in research after the PhD and to apply to research positions. This will be checked. A paper that is Q2 does not weigh much as compared to your Q1 paper. You can have 3 Q2 papers. It will not be the same as 1 Q1. Okay, so let's see now the process that comes with the submission of an acceptation of a paper. So that's good to know because knowing this process is also a good way to increase the chance of acceptation. So first of all, submission is now through the website of the journal or through Overleaf, as I mentioned before. And there is automatic check at this stage. That is, in many cases, still performed by people, but probably it will be done by AI very soon. And this is mainly about the writing rules of the paper. You have to follow some mise en forme, some shaping that is required by the journal. It can be very painful because, in particular, they check how the references are edited, and each journal has its own rules. Sometimes you have to start with the authors, sometimes you have to start with the title, and so you have to stick to these rules when you submit your paper. Here again, if you use Zotero or Jabref, it will help you. They now have systems to check for plagiarism. So it's very easy. It's just like your PhD manuscript. It will be checked the same. So there is a system that will check for plagiarism. So don't do it because it will be detected for sure. They also checked for, which I didn't put on this slide. They also, because it's very recent, they also check for multiple submissions. You're not allowed to submit the same paper to multiple journals at the same time. And they now check it. So if you submit to journal A and journal B at the same time, there is a system behind that will detect this. And you will have your paper rejected from both journals because of this. And they will also check if the same paper was submitted before or a similar paper was submitted before. And similarity is measured by checking for the list of authors, by checking for the abstract, and also the content of the paper. And for example, if you submitted a paper to a journal and it was rejected, and you submit the very same paper just after, without modification or any explanation, this again will be detected, and for sure your new submission will be rejected again. Okay, I'm talking a lot. So second step is filtration by the editor-in-chief. So he or she will make sure that the paper is in the scope of the journal. So make sure to select a journal that corresponds to the content of the topic of your paper. Because many papers are rejected because they are out of scope, not in the scope of the journal. The editor-in-chief will also check for some ethical rules. So the paper has to be ethical. Everything should be explained on the journal website. So you have to adhere to these ethical rules. Ethic means that you comply with some professional acceptations. So again, the purpose of a paper is to contribute to scientific knowledge. It should not contribute to something else. It should not be commercial, for example. It should not be a way to promote a commercial product. So this is against ethics. Sometimes it's more subtle. You shouldn't. Sometimes it's political. Let's just say this. So it should be politically correct in all aspects, genders, race, and so on. Third step is when the editor-in-chief then sends the paper to associate editors. Associate editors are more specialized in a topic. They will check again more with respect to the scientific content, the quality of the paper. And finally, the associate editors. Sometimes there is still a third level of handling editors, which will then correspond with the reviewers. And we come to reviewers. Reviewers are we call them peer reviewers. So that there are those researchers who will be invited to validate your results. Still the very old systems, like many centuries ago. That's the hard part. That is when the paper suffers. The game for reviewers is really to test your paper, to test your theory, to test your results, and to really make sure that everything is bulletproof. There should be no place for uncertainty, for vagueness, for anything that is not rigorous. Then reviewers send their suggestions. So basically, the paper is just not good, so reject. Then there is a possibility to accept it under condition of major revisions. Or the paper is quite good, but there are some minor revisions, some part that needs to be clarified, some typos that needs to be corrected. So revisions that usually can be achieved within a few days or no more than a few weeks. Or, which is very rare, but it happens, the paper can be accepted in the first round. Revision means that there will be a second round, and the paper will have to be revised and sent again to reviewers who will accept it or not. It's rare to have a third round, but it's also sometimes happens. Okay. And then the editor at the end takes these suggestions to take the final decision. Normally, the decision of the editor is the same as the reviewers, but sometimes it can change. There are cases where the editor does not agree with reviewers, and this is the role of the editor to supervise this process. And there might be a change of decision at the end. Okay. I've talked a lot, so there are many slides which I will skip because I already explained everything. I like this one. It's useful to select the journal in which you want to submit your paper. There are 4 questions, very hard questions, very violent questions. Is your paper of interest for the majority of readers? Is your paper of major interest for a minority of readers? Is your paper of marginal interest for most readers? Is your paper of no interest at all for the majority of readers? Okay. So this is usually the criteria that we use typically in conferences when we have to deal with hundreds of submissions and take a very quick decision as whether the submission is in the scope of the conference or not. I like this as well, which are conditions which I have selected from many journals. They have guidelines. All journals have guidelines, and I strongly recommend the reading of these guidelines. Okay, here we have the sine qua non conditions. So a paper should provide credibility scientifique, so scientific credentials. I don't know how to translate this. The subject should be perfectly mastered and based on strong premises. With strong knowledge of previous works, and all the results should be perfectly justified and validated. Everything is said within a few words. And this should be explained on the basis of rigor. So rigor is really the quality that a scientific paper should have, as compared to other forms of writing. And you should also convince of the impact of your work. If you want your paper to be read and to be cited, then it should be impactful. And again, in one sentence, the best papers are innovative, well-researched, well-written, and an asset to the field. Keep this in mind. It's very well phrased within a few words, and everything is here. A paper that has no innovation has no reason to be published. It has no reason to be submitted. Innovation is what we expect from a paper. And there are some journals like JASA that the very first step, which I explained, which is the shape of the paper, refuse the name new in the title of the paper. The reason is very simple. If the content of the paper is not new, there is no reason to submit it. So there is no need to mention that it's new. If you submit your paper to JASA with the word new in the title, they will return it to you. I really like this rule. Well-researched refers to all the literature review and so on, that on which the research is based. Well-written was a major difficulty for most of us because the language of scientific writing, this is something that has changed. It was initially Latin. Arabics, Greek, Arabics, Latin for a long time. And then it switched to European languages. French stayed for a long time in mathematics and is still used in some domain like medicine and some other soft science domains. And it's now English. Probably in next century it will be in Chinese. I'm 100% sure. It was a major problem for us to write papers in English. It's now less and less. And we can see the difference. We have very good tools now to... there was an advice which I used to give before, a mistake that not to do, which is to first write a paper in French and then try to translate it in English. We used to do this. And we used to sometimes we ask colleagues to English and native English speakers even to translate in English. After we tried to use these translation tools, which were not very good. Nowadays they are really good, and so I think we can now play this game, write it in French, and ask AI to translate it in English. It's now very performant to do this. Okay. A few personal advices, which don't come from the advices that you will find on the journal website or a guide for others. So this is these advices come from my my experience. So first of all, remember that the first readers of your paper will be reviewers, and they are the most severe, the most critical, the most demanding readers. And so keep in mind that you should write your papers for them first of all. And this will help you to keep your to keep the rigor that is needed to write a scientific paper. Then avoid papers that are too long. That's a very typical mistake for students who write papers for the first time. They try to introduce all the results in the same paper. So maybe for the old generation that was the case. We still find such papers which are 50-page long. It was the achievement of 10-year PhD thesis. PhD theses were much longer in the past. No, that's no longer works like this. So if you have many messages to convey, then you have to write several papers. A paper now should be short, and recommendation is 1 or 2 messages, no more. Okay, explain one idea. One idea is one paper. And one ID can come with one or a couple of messages, and if not, there is room for more papers. Yeah, and short papers are easier to write, so they should be concise, impactful. Of course, they should be well structured for this. Yeah.
Just a simple question. If I publish in a congress, for example, and I want to publish in a journal, this is considered a different day, even if I change something in the congress paper?
Yeah. There is no general rule for this because it completely depends on first on the field, second on the conference, and third on the journal. There are scientific fields in which it is very usual to first publish in a conference, and it is well accepted that this initial work is then to be consolidated, extended for a publication in a journal. In mechanics, it is usually the case. Huh? There are also domains, scientific fields, where it's a bit different, and where they have very selective conferences, which are just as important for them as journals for us. This is typically what you have in research that is evolving very fast, like in medicine or in AI. So it's very important for them, once they have an idea, to publish it as soon as possible, within a few months, and maybe 1 year after the idea will be old. Yeah. So then, the conference is really what they much more important, what they target, and they have conferences which are extremely selective, and it is known in the scientific community. Some IEEE conferences are extremely selective. Then there are some conferences that ask for copyright. And they are very demanding in terms of copyright. And basically this prevents you from using the same material in a journal paper. Because everything you gave to the conference is then cannot be reused it's difficult to reuse it in a journal paper. So you have to be careful about this. For such conferences, you just give the minimum information. And for such conferences, for sure, you will have to reproduce figures. You won't be able to use the same figures for a journal paper. Yeah. And then there are some journal papers which have policy, specific policy, and they don't want the submission to be an extension of a journal paper. It happens. So there is no general answer, really case by case. Okay. What else? Still concerning my personal advices. Try to write your paper like a novel. What is really important is to structure your ideas. That's the first step in writing, is to structure your ideas. And your ideas should be organized like in a novel. You should give the reader the wish to read your papers. Set up the. I will have difficulties to translate this in English, but you have to set up the context of the story. You have to identify the problematics, so the questions that you will answer. You will have to set up the scenario, then an investigation, elucidation, and conclusions. Yeah, it really follows that the ingredients of a novel. But structuration of ideas is really the most important. What is not important is the style. First structure, then write. Don't worry about the style. It is the same rules for writers. Writers, they. I recently write a book of. Very good book of a writer who explained how they write, how writers write. It's unbelievable that they can revise the same writing so many times, 10 times, 20 times. It's the first writing has nothing to do with the last version. What is important is the structure, then lay down your ideas, don't care about style, and then revise. Okay. So very quickly, because this is basic stuff. So the different parts in a paper. Title. It may sound obvious. Title is very important because it is the very first thing that will be referenced in databases. The very first thing that people will read. So if you want to, attract readers, well, the paper should be attractive. The title should be attractive. There are also keywords that I did not list it here, but this is also something that he used in the databases. So they should be meaningful and attractive as well. Second is abstract. Again, this is the visibility of your paper. And this is the second thing that is read by people. So not too long. Some journals have rules about this. So in the very first step, remember what they check. They check the length of the abstract, and it should not be too long. And sometimes it is limited. The length of the paper also is now limited in some journals. Then introduction, which with the abstract is probably what I think is the most difficult to write. It's the same for a PhD manuscript. So I would recommend writing the abstract and the introduction at the end. The easiest is the body of the paper, where okay, basically you summarize your PhD work. Okay, so this is what the methodology I designed. This is the results I obtained. This is my interpretation of the results. That's probably the easiest to write. So start with this. And then it's probably easier to come back to the abstract and the introduction. Okay. A conclusion. Okay, so conclusion should not only be a summary of your paper, but it should also discuss the validity of the results and the future. And this is sometimes missing. Conclusion should really give the limitations of your work and possible openings, possible generalizations. And then, of course, the reference list. So these are the very, very classical ingredients, and then you're free to organize this as you wish. Wait.
If I may add, too often I see abstracts that are not well written, in the sense that sometimes people like to put some of the results. The abstract should summarize the entirety of your paper, of course, and not just be an introduction. And sometimes I see people they summarize their work and they say, okay, we have done a lot of parametric studies to find the dependency, whatnot. But they don't say what they found.
Yeah.
And in some journals, they ask for highlights when you publish. They ask you to put 2 or 3 highlights. What are the takeaways from your article in like 100 characters? And I think it's a very good thing to do to make the effort to search for 2 or 3 highlights of your paper, and it should be mentioned at the end of your abstract. But when people read it fastly with the title, abstract, figures, and hydrography, they also have the takeaway, the highlights of your paper.
Takeaway.
Important.
Have a look at papers in mathematics. Sometimes the abstract is 3 lines. It's just a formula that they. It's beautiful. Yeah. And then the introduction is a summary of previous works, very nicely written. So what people did previously, similar results that they found, and they explain in words. And then you have proofs, mathematics that come at the end, which is very technical. Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Okay, I skip a lot. You will have the papers. Okay. Concerning English writing, scientific English writings, we have to comply with rules which are not the same as in French. So I insist on this, and this is the place to talk about this. Equations should be part of the text. So as you can see here, the equation is in the sentence. It is part of the sentence. So there is a comma at the end of the equation. And if the equation is at the end of the sentence, so there is a point, on dit pas un point en anglais, semicolon, non? Ou, je sais plus, il y en a aux amis là, voilà. There is a dot at the end. Voilà. In France, it's very different. It's so keep this in mind. We will see some examples later. Figures are very important. I will give a few words about this again later. But it's a very good way to summarize the information. And so, as we explained to undergraduate students, figures should come with axes, units, legends, and a beautiful picture should be perfectly understood, and you should understand it perfectly by itself, without having to read the text that comes with it. Okay, I'm not talking with the legends. So when I'm talking the figure or the figure, it is the image plus the legend. Okay, but we should be able to understand the information that is delivered without having to read the text. So that's very important, and to you, it's more difficult that we can think. We can really spend a lot of time on figures. I will come back to it later because I like this topic. Okay, what else? Yeah, reference list. That's also very important. Well, first of all, because again, it's a way to prove that your work is based on solid grounds. You should list all previous works and convince the reader that what you proposed is new, that you have not missed something in the literature. It's not easy because now the number of publications is so large. It's an exponential growth that it's very easy to miss something. And so the reference list and the literature survey that comes with it in the paper body should really prove this, that the knowledge of previous work is comprehensive enough. Try to be smart as well in the selection of the papers, because you can give some hints for the selection of reviewers. Typically, the editors will use your reference list as a pool of reviewers. So it can, you can suggest some reviewers by listing their work, or you can also, if there are some reviews that you would like to avoid without being a lack in your reference list, you can also not reference them in the reference list. Talking of this, if there are some reviewers that you would really like to avoid because you're in conflict with them, this is something that you should write in the cover letter. there is a conflict of interest, and the cover letter is made for this. Okay. What else? Yes, the journal to which you submit your paper wants you to reference a lot of papers from it. A lot of papers published in the same journal. It's a way for the journal to increase its impact factor. You know that it's the relevance of a journal is measured by the so-called impact factor. You know how this is. So what we call the IF. Impact factor is. Do I have the formula here? It's probably somewhere in the slides. It is based on the numbers of papers from this journal that have been cited overall, so good journals have high impact factors. And so in order to increase their impact factor, they expect writers to cite a lot of their papers.
Kind of ratio between the number of citations and the number of published papers?
Yes, I can't remember exactly. It's maybe I've got it here. You will find it easily. It's the impact factor. A good impact factor in our field is very good impact factor is say above 10. A good impact factor would be 5. If the impact factor is a journal does not have an impact factor, then it's not a good journal. So that's really good above 10. But it depends on the domain. Yeah. Okay, I think I've. And there is the H index. That's not for journals, that's for road surface. So you know this one. H index, for example, an H index of 10 means that at least 10 of your papers have been cited 10 times. Okay, so it's also a measure of it's a publication metric, yeah. And there is a kind of coupling between the two, between the H index and the impact factor. So if you want to increase your H index, you'd better publish in journals with a high impact factor, because you have a high probability that your work will be cited. And inversely, journals who want to improve their impact factor will try to attract researchers with high H indices. Okay. I have a few more slides. Est-ce que j'ai mis ça? Okay, concerning good examples of papers. So, for example, I took this one from Professor Williams. So you probably know Fourier acoustics from this guy. It's a very famous book. He's from the US Naval Research Laboratory, and he's collaborating with a lot of colleagues in France. Maybe you know Sandrine Racoton-Arriveau from Marseille, Philippe Roux, CNRS. And he and his collaborators wrote really nice papers in acoustics. So you will find, nice titles. This one is quite long. Concise, abstract. Jaser has a limited number of pages, so that have to be short. Then equations, which are part of sentences, as I mentioned before. And don't forget, when using equations, to introduce all quantities. That's also something that is mandatory. All quantities must be defined. And immediately with the equation, so before in the sentence or after, but it should be in the same sentence or same paragraph. You shouldn't have to look for the definitions somewhere else. And all comes very naturally because it is well structured, with also with nice figures, and you can easily understand the figures just by looking at them and reading the legends. I selected this paper from their team, but all their papers are like this. Yeah. And then the conclusion actually here is a discussion and summary. So discussion is important, you see. And the references. So there is there are two things which I didn't mention for references. First of all, there is an unfortunate tendency today to list only the most recent works. This might be meaningless in some other domains where research is evolving very quickly, but not in our domain. Sometimes we see papers in acoustics on topics like this one, where all the references are from last year or the year before. This is nonsense. Okay, and this reflects an ignorance of previous works. Here they have the courage to cite a work from 1975, because this is the work that makes sense. Okay. If it's about classical electrodynamics, there is no need to cite the last paper from yesterday who talked about, wrote something about classical electrodynamics. And that's sometimes ridiculous, because when you look at this last day paper, sometimes there is not even a word about the content that is cited. Okay, so that's one thing. I'm very critical on this. I hate this. And the second thing is that the literature review should be, to say this, geographically balanced. So it shouldn't be all from the same country. And we nowadays see this, where some references all come from the same country. So this is something that is not accepted in journals, because it does not reflect the reality. Research is international and not done in only one country. Okay. Wait.
Just a question. You mentioned earlier signature in the lab.
Oui.
We have also recommendations for some mandatory rules about the acknowledgement.
About the what, sorry?
About the acknowledgement of the CEDIA.
Ah, ok, oui. Merci, oui. Acknowledgements, yeah, so here, for European projects, of course, acknowledgements are mandatory. Probably for les projets CNRS, les projets ANR, Agence nationale de la recherche, I guess it's the same. Ouais, c'est ça, il faut mettre the project number. And we used to acknowledge also a CELIA, Center of Excellence Centre d'Excellence lyonnais en acoustique. Voilà. I will send you the exact wording for this acknowledgement. CELIA has participated a lot for founding research during the last 10 years. We could buy equipments, we could found PhDs, postdocs, and so on. So yeah, it's good. It's natural to acknowledge them. I will send you by emails how to do this, and I together with the signature of the lab. Okay. Well, I have some other good examples to show. What I wanted to show is this. That's an exercise that I used to do with PhD students, which is to give them a scientific part of a scientific paper, and ask them to condense as much as possible while still preserving the same information. And here is a really nice example of which I took from this part is taken actually from a book. It's the inverse problem. But it's Physics of Waves by Elmore. It's a nicely written book on the on waves, mechanical and electromagnetic waves. And this is why this author can achieve within a few words. He is able to derive the equation, the wave equation, the 1D. It's beautiful. Someone said, I think it was Dirac, who said, it must be beautiful. If an equation is not beautiful, it's wrong. And you can read the sentence, everything is here, nothing is missing. It makes sense, and you understand it. And this is what it would take if you didn't do this exercise. It might be the first writing, and after working again, you may arrive at this. And that's a way to make paper short or something. Okay. Voilà, c'est un très bon. It's a very good exercise to try to do this. Il y avait un autre truc que je retrouve plus. I will continue on showing good examples. That's a very difficult type of paper to write, a review. Leo mentioned the importance of review papers. It's probably one of the most difficult type of paper to write. I didn't mention the types of papers, but you have regular papers, which are an exposition of standard results. There are so-called long papers, where you may have a very long exposition. So it can be more than just introducing results, but it can be a discussion of several results. There are tutorial papers where the idea is to explain some theory that has not been explained before. And there are review papers that try to give a general overview in a domain. That's very difficult to write. And it's a bad advice to ask students to write review papers because normally you need a good perspective to do this. And this one I selected because it's you will see they did this exercise brilliantly. Abstract is very short. So it's about a review on regression techniques, quantile regression. So it's a hard topic. Then they explain briefly the different type of quantile regressions. So in this sense, here it is a tutorial. And again, very concisely, just as the example I showed before, they managed to explain this. Even for someone who does not know the subject, it's possible to understand it. Everything is here in short paragraphs. Then they explain also some methods, k nearest neighbors. They give the algorithm with the computational complexity, because then they will compare results. And so when you compare results, it's important to have all elements of comparisons, in particular complexity, random forests, and so on and so on. So the idea here is not to describe the contents, but to explain how they write it. Neural networks, which is what Song Hao and José explained within a few words. So the principle of the multiple layers and the cost function that is minimized. Yeah. Okay, so many methods, Bayesian approaches, and so on. And then comes the comparison. So normally, a review should also be critical and compare the methods. And then you should explain how you do these comparisons. So it's part of the work, and you have to explain the experimental apparatus. I didn't mention a very important concept in scientific publication. So not only it should be validated by peer reviewers, but it should be reproducible. The concept is reproducibility. this is one of the pillars of research. So a result must be reproducible. And so they explain here how to reproduce their results. Everything is given. Yeah, so the metrics that they use, hyperparameter. It's very easy when you compare algorithms to sheet to bias the results by not properly tuning the hyperparameters. So that this discussion is very important. And then how to represent the results. And, here again, the figures are very important to represent a large quantity of information, of data, in a very synthetic way. So here they use this les boîtes à moustaches, box plots in English. So some other way of representing the results. So
about the figure, if you can go back to the figure, the curve.
Yeah.
I think there is two main paradigms in plotting such curve. The previous one you showed, they put legends inside the figure.
Wait.
Some people have this, they don't put anything inside the figure, but legends are in the caption of the figure. I think there is two main paradigms.
It also depends on journals. Journals refuse captions inside figures. I think it's the case for JASA, for example. If you ever put some text or a cartouche, a legend inside the figure, then JASA will return the manuscript. So they don't want this. I tend to follow the rule. So at least for the text, that should come in the legend. So that's probably more usual.
But anyway, the figure caption should be comprehensive. So you should be able to understand the whole figure just by looking, but just by reading the caption. You don't have to go to the corner. Everything should be in the caption.
Okay. Do you have any questions on the part that I've presented? I still have a few minutes for answering questions. And if I ever happen to find I had something else to show.
When you will send us the email with the signature and the acknowledgement, could you also send us the references of the paper you showed?
Yes, no problem.
But I think there was some.
No problem. Est-ce que j'ai fait de ces trucs là? J'aurais bien vous retrouver le. Je trouve plus ce truc, c'est incroyable.